So where can you go to with a single shape? Well, virtually anywhere in Affinity Photo. So I've got this shape filled with a gradient and I'm going to duplicate it. That's all I'm going to do. Layer and duplicate. Well, obviously I'm going to do a little bit more than that. But after that, I'm actually going to rotate it as well. So I'm just rotating it. It's the same shape, just rotate it a bit. And what you can then do is go over here to blend modes, and I'm just going to go to difference. You could use any other blend mode as well, of course. But also I'm going to use a power transform. That's Command or Control J. And that means that this will be duplicated multiple times with that blending mode. And you can go all the way around, and this obviously depends on the angle you chose to create the design at the end. And of course, as mentioned, you don't have to go with difference. You could use any of the others. In fact, let's just try it. Just select all of them, so they're all selected, and then just go through exclusion. Maybe go for negation. You might think, you know what, that looks better. Negation, I'm going to go with that. Well, once you've got that, what you can also do is you can, with them all selected, you can always group. So right click and then group. They all become one single group. Then you can go to a layer and down here to rasterize and trim. So it turns it into a pixel layer. Solid pixel layer, so rasterize and trim. All the other layers are gone now, but you've got this design. It's a great start point for pattern designs. But before I go any further, I'm going to apply a few filter effects because I want to distort it a bit. So I'm just going to resize it a bit, just to make it a bit smaller. Deform, really super useful one. Go to filters, distort and deform. So with this, you got here rigid. I'm just going to go with that as a default, but you could use similarity as well. And I'm just going to add some pins in the center because I don't want the center to be moved. So I just want to add a load of pins. Now, unfortunately, there's no sort of master control to stop that center part or the edges being moved. So just adding a lot of pins really makes it sort of fixed. Now I'm just going to then distort around the edge. So I'm just going to drag so you can get these lovely blobs coming away from your shape. And you can put it very close and just drag out, or maybe a bit more in the center, get bigger ones there. Maybe there, just drag again, and you can distort it in all kinds of ways. Obviously, infinite possibilities. And click apply. So now you've got your distorted design. Well, you can also apply other filter effects. So I'm just going to go to filters and distort and twirl. Now you can push this too far, and I would suggest don't touch the document because then it will change the position of the origin point. I want it that position there, so I'm just not going to click that. Also, you can modify the radius. You can push it too far and you distort the shape. I don't want that, so I just want it just distorted in that central part. So just put the value up to a certain point and then stop. You've got nice distortion in the center and click apply. I'm going to add some layer effects now. Layer effects, just go to the layers panel and you can add layer effects. So effects, just there, and you can see you've got bevel emboss, and I'm just going to just quickly increase the radius. Also maybe 3D, again change the radius, and you can vary it. You've got lots of profiles, so infinite kind of designs can be created from this as well. Also you can add, if you wish, an outer shadow. So just increase the radius. I always prefer it just about the middle, just to get the nice shadow effect. And then close. Well, at this point, I could just finish here, but what I want to do is turn this into a pattern design. But you need it to be a pixel layer, but a pixel layer that is with the effect and also the shape. So I'm just going to go to Layer and Rasterize. There's Preserve Layer Effects. If you want the layer effects still to be preserved, so it's still active, keep that active there, but you can deselect that and rasterize. So it all becomes one pixel layer. Now I can turn that into a pattern. So layer and new pattern layer from selection. And you can see, create that. Now I personally like to get rid of this one, but you can also just simply select here and clear it. Also, just go here, just hover here and lock it. Otherwise, you'll end up always selecting it. So I prefer not to do that. So click there, so it's locked and also not visible. So now I can just go back to this pattern and move it around without obviously selecting it by accident. And hold down the Alt or Option key, or just go to Layer and Duplicate, and you can create additional ones. But as before, you can use blending modes. There's a variety of blending modes. I'm just going to go through, and I'm just going to go with, this time, average. Just want a nice sort of lovely colourful effect, but it's not so intense. And again, with the Move tool there, hold down the Alt or Option key, and I can drag and duplicate, and I've got that design. So it near enough creates a sort of unusual, surreal jigsaw puzzle looking design across the image. Well, at this point, I want to convert it all into a single solid pixel layer. So I've got all my designs, all the swirls, all the layers, all these sort of a bit of depth. So I'm just going to go over here and I can select all of those and layer, and now I could just merge visible, just as easy. That's what I'm going to do. Merge visible, so they just all merge into a pixel layer. I don't want these anymore, so I can select here, select all of those, do exactly the same as before. Just click here, so they're all no longer visible. With this pixel layer, I can now apply some effects to it. You can also save this design as a displacement map. So you've got this design, you can just put it away, File and Export. So File and Export, takes a few seconds to process, and I can save it as a PNG. So with this design, I can then go whole document, yep, click Export, and I'm going to save it to 2.png. You can see I've already created a document before, but I'm just going to make that 2.png. Now with this selected, I can now go to Filters, Distort and Displace. By default, nothing at this point. Load map from file. So select that file, click open, and now apply that. And you can see the result of that. You can get really wonderful distortions just from the same image, just applied. And you can push it too far. I don't think it looks as good, maybe just about there. And click apply. Now you can, of course, apply again. Always go to Filters, Distort and Displace. Again, maybe select a different file. You've got another file, a couple of files like this sort of design. But again, you could use that one, but I'm just going to use that one again. And again, just slight distortion. That distorts the distortion. And shift it like that. Well, you can also go to Filters and Colours and Auto Levels, just to brighten it up a bit. Filters, Blur and Gaussian Blur. Again, just 1 pixel. Don't want to blur it too much. Click it, apply it. You could, of course, just try it. Filters, but go to Filters and Lighting. Go to Ambient, Gain, Direction, and then down to Texture. And as you do that, you can drag that and click Apply. And you can see the end result of all those combinations, the twirls, the various distortions, displacements, everything, all now with a lovely 3-dimensional effect. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Bye.